Hi everyone, welcome back to Be My Cook. In today's menu, we're going to be making an easy baked chili rellenos with no egg batter. So if this interests you, just keep watching. So our first step in making this chili rellenos is we have to take our poblano peppers, that's what this is right here, and we're going to roast them. I'm going to put them on my gas burner stove, and we're going to blacken the skin and then we're going to pull it off. If you don't have a gas stove to do this, go ahead and put them on a tray and put them in the oven on the broiler and keep an eye on them, and you're going to have to keep turning them all the time just to make sure that they all get blackened. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pepper on the flame, put my other one on this flame, and we're going to take our tongs and flip them over. I'll show you each step as we go along. Now this is what we're looking for all the skin to be blackened like that, and we're going to put it in a bowl and put some plastic wrap over the top of it. Now that I have them all in the bowl and they're all charred, I'm going to go ahead and put some plastic wrap on these, and we're going to let them sweat for about 20 minutes. Okay, our second step, I have 1 tablespoon of olive oil in this saute pan, and I'm going to take about a pound of ground chuck and add it to the pan. So I'm going to go ahead right now and chop up 1 large potato. I have some in this bowl already. So I have several cloves of garlic here. You use as much as you want. If you've never had this before, I would suggest use at least 1 big clove, and for the sauce maybe another big clove. If you know you like garlic, pour it on. So I'm going to chop up the garlic. I'm going to use half of this onion in a dice. I'm going to chop up 1 of these tomatoes, and I have an Anaheim pepper. I'm going to use about half of it for our sauce that goes on top of our chilies and for the filling. Okay, that's enough for the filling. And I'm going to use the other half. This is what we're going to use for our tomato sauce on top. Now this is a spicy pepper, and I'm used to these. If you're not, then just use 1/4 of the amount. But this gives it such a wonderful flavor. It's going to give it a spice, but it's not exactly going to be super hot. If you don't want to use it at all, don't use it. You can use green pepper if you want. Okay, I'm going to use my garlic press and get our garlic in a little dish. I would highly recommend using fresh garlic. Okay, so I chopped up that 1 tomato. I have our Anaheim peppers chopped, onion. I use 6 cloves of garlic, and we already have our potatoes ready. So our next step is our ground beef is in the pan with 1 tablespoonful of olive oil, and we are going to slightly brown this, and then we're going to add more ingredients to it. Our ground beef is now browned, so I'm just going to drain all the fat. We're going to add some garlic. And most of the onion, save some of that. And we're going to add all of our chili pepper. And we're just going to let that mingle together for a little bit. I have my stove on low. We don't want anything to burn. We just want to cook this until our onions are translucent and the garlic is fragrant. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes now. Everything's looking good. We're going to go ahead and add our tomato that we chopped. And we're going to add some Mexican oregano. If you can get your hands on it, go ahead and use this. If not, you can use a little bit of regular oregano. I'm going to use a teaspoon. That goes in. I'm going to use a teaspoon of cumin, some salt and pepper. It's about 1/4 of a teaspoon each. And we're just going to stir this around. Let everything incorporate Let's put a lid on and cook it for another 3 minutes. I'm going ahead and adding a teaspoon of beef bouillon. This is a paste. Go ahead and use 1 bouillon cube if you don't have this paste. I'm going to go ahead and add our potatoes. I've drained them. Now because we're using a bouillon cube or bouillon paste, I'm going to go ahead and add maybe a half a cup of water because I want my potatoes to get done and we need a little liquid in here. Put a lid on and we're going to cook it for about 10 minutes or until our potatoes are fork tender. While I'm waiting for our ground beef to cook with the potatoes, we're going to go ahead and start making our sauce that goes over the top of our chili rellenos. And I'm going to start to chop our tomatoes, and I also have some tomato sauce and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cumin and Mexican oregano in here. Plus we have the rest of our garlic, the rest of our onions, and our Anaheim pepper. We also have salt and pepper, and I'm going to add some parsley as well, and maybe a little bit of water as we get going, and I'm going to add that as I see fit. We just want to dice these just as long as we get them cut because we're going to go ahead and mix these anyway. In this pan I just added a teaspoon of olive oil, and we're going to go ahead and turn on the stove to about medium low, and I'm going to add our tomatoes. And we're going to let them cook for a little bit. This will be plenty of sauce for the 4 peppers that we made. You might have to double this if you like more sauce or you're using more peppers. We're just going to let this cook for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to add some spices to it. Now you want to stir your potato and beef mixture every once in a while and check on your potatoes. Mine are not done yet, so we're going to let that cook. Okay, our tomatoes have been cooking for about 4 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic and the onions and our Anaheim pepper and the oregano and the cumin, some pepper, and some salt. Now you can make it as salty as you want. We're going to let these cook for about 3 minutes together. You can turn the heat up to about medium now because we want our tomatoes to soften up. So I just want to show you what I'm talking about when I want the tomatoes to start to cook a little bit more. As they start to soften, this is where we are right now. It's been cooking for about 3 minutes. Let's check on our potatoes and ground beef mixture. Let's give that a stir. It's looking good. Let's check the potatoes. Almost there. Our next step for our sauce, I'm going to take 1 more teaspoon of the beef bouillon paste. If you have a bouillon cube, use that. We're just going to mix that in real quick. Now I'm going to go ahead and pour in a cup of water. I might add more if it looks like it's getting too thick because we are going to cook this for a little while. I'm also going to add in about 2 tablespoons of the tomato sauce to give it a little bit more rich flavor. We're going to stir that around. Now we're going to go ahead and let this cook and let all the spices and peppers and onions and garlic mingle together for about 10 minutes. And our sauce is basically done. So our ground beef mixture is now done. The potatoes are done. That's pretty much what we want. We just want to cook it until the potatoes are done. And that took about almost 15 minutes on low, depending on what size of potatoes that you make. But mine were very small. So I'm going to turn off the stove and just let it sit here. Okay, now we're going to take our peppers out of the bowl. They've been in there for quite a while. And I want to show you what to do. You take your pepper and you just start peeling the skin, and it comes right off. and we're just going to keep peeling off all this skin until we get all 4 peppers. So this is what our peppers look like after we've taken all the skin off. And I have just opened them up with my finger and took all the seeds out. Our broth is done, and I just added a little bit of parsley. The fire has been turned off, and we're just going to let this sit until we need it. We have our filling, we have some Mexican blend cheese, and we have our peppers over here. I also have a 9x13 glass Pyrex dish, and go ahead and turn your oven on to 375 degrees and get that preheated. I'm going to spray our Pyrex dish with some avocado oil, or use olive oil. Now we're going to stuff our peppers. So now that we've made our opening and the seeds are out, we're just going to go ahead and put our filling inside. And I'm going to stuff them as much as I possibly can, because we're not going to put this in an egg batter. Now at this point, if you were using an egg batter, you would have to use toothpicks to close this up and then dip it in the egg batter and fry it in oil. We're not going to do that. So this is as full as I have it. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some cheese on the top and pack it in there, because that's what we want to see, is the cheese melted. And this just goes into our dish. This is so easy, it tastes great. If you order chili rellenos at a restaurant, more likely you're just gonna get the chili and it's just stuffed with cheese, that's it. You might get some that might be stuffed with ground beef or shredded beef, but I like making this at my home because I can make what I like and stuff it with whatever I want. Here we go, here's our second one. See how easy this is? And it's not going to be sitting in a whole bunch of oil. Now you don't want, when you're making these, you don't want to slit them all the way up to the top, okay? You just want to leave a little bit of room here and a little bit of room up here. Just kind of open it up like a pocket. And as soon as my oven gets preheated, I'm going to put this in the oven and I'm going to put some foil on top, and then I'm going to take the foil off for the last 5 minutes of cooking. We're going to cook this for 15 minutes. The last 5 minutes, go ahead and take off the foil. Okay, I just took our chilies out of the oven, and let's continue. So I want to show you how to serve these. And let's get some on the plate here. Let's kind of arrange them a little bit here. All right, now they're on the tray. We're going to take our sauce that we made, put that over the top of each one of them. Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering. These are so good. Now for a little bit of extra, we're going to add some sour cream on top of each one of these. Now just on the end, usually I would use cilantro, but I didn't have any, so I'm just going to go ahead and put some parsley on all over the plate. So here is our easy baked chili rellenos. You can serve this with Mexican rice or just some tortillas. If you like this recipe, subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.